I spend a lot of time walking the shoreline. It's a big part of my process. I collect driftwood that I see as a component to a larger sculpture. Back in the studio, I take that wood and I try to recreate a representation of an animal that I've seen in the wild. When I create my art, I try to capture that moment of awe that I felt while seeing these animals, and I try to replicate that for the viewer, hoping that they'll see, one, my reverence for nature in my work, but also hoping that they'll experience something like maybe an echo of what I felt when I saw these animals in the field. The Mastodon's different. It's like no other sculpture I've ever created. The American Mastodon is the very first species that early scientists ever recognized went extinct. Before that, people didn't even have this concept or understanding that an animal or a species could be lost. And in that way, the American Mastodon is fundamental to our understanding of extinction. When I started creating my art, I became captivated with the idea of creating one of these animals in its natural habitat. I wanted to give myself and others the opportunity to stand next to or see one of these in the wild. So the only way I could figure out how to create this sculpture was to hike the material of the driftwood one bag at a time into the forest to the location where I was going to build this sculpture. It kind of became a labor of love. The sculpture likely weighs over 2,000 pounds. It was sometimes backbreaking, but now that I see it, it was necessary and incredibly rewarding. I've kept this location a secret for a couple of reasons. One, I kind of love the magic of people knowing it exists but not knowing where it is. I also am kind of intrigued by someone stumbling upon my sculpture and having that moment of encounter. But I'm also a little bit scared that history will repeat itself and that someone might damage it. And I kind of feel this need to protect it a little bit or to conserve it. And I'm hoping that by keeping the location a bit secret and making it more difficult for people to find, that if they do find it, they'll have that same sense. They'll want to protect it so that others can have that moment of discovery. My hope with this sculpture is that if someone does stand next to it or sees images of it, they might reflect on the animals that could go extinct within our lifetime due to human impacts. Just as the Mastodon became a symbol for extinction, I hope that my sculpture can be a message of conservation.